Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to another episode of the Mahdiyyah Podcast, dedicated to the master of the era, Sahib al-Asr wa Zaman, Ajallahu Ta'ala Farjahu Sharif. And joining me today on this special 15th of Shabaan episode is Brother Ali. Assalamu alaikum, Brother Ali. I'm glad you can make it safely today, given the global scenario that's at hand. How are you keeping up with this COVID-19 situation?
Walaikum assalam, brother. Alhamdulillah, just surviving. I had to put basketball on a hold, but it gave me a chance to think about a lot of things. I've been thinking about how Allah works in mysterious ways, man.
Man, you gotta share your reflections. I gotta understand this.
I mean, we as humans have peaked. Look around us. Technology is completely bananas right now. Humans have cars that drive themselves. You can talk to your cousins or friends on the other side of the globe with FaceTime. Businesses are going through the roof in terms of profits and growth. Well, aside from right now with the whole stock market crash, but yeah, so many incredible things. But Allah's system is set up in such a way that a virus which is so small that it can't even be seen with the naked eye basically just brought the entire world to its knees.
You're right. Everybody is just seeing and accepting the current situation on one hand. Literally, this tiny virus is just a speck, but it's brought the entire world to a standstill. But on the other hand, there are people who doubt how Imam al-Zaman, the Hujjah of Allah, will spread his rule to the entire world while bringing peace and justice to humanity at the same time.
That's a solid point, but why do you think that? Why do you think some of us have this lurking uncertainty about Imam Mahdi alayhi salam? You know what I mean?
Honestly, if you go into the root cause, it's simple. People have not truly recognized the position of Imam Mahdi or even understood the institution of imamate.
What do you mean? The institution of imamate seems pretty straightforward.
I mean, it is to an extent, but the topic of imamate goes into next level depths, right? Let me explain with the help of a hadith from Imam Musa al-Kazim alayhi salam, where he says, ما وكد الله على العباد في شيء ما وكد عليهم بالإقرار بالإمامة. Meaning that Allah has not emphasized on anything so much for the servants as much as He has emphasized on acknowledgement of imamate. And the Imam continues. He says, وَمَا جَحَدَ الْعِبَادُ شَيْئًا مَا جَحَدُوهَا. But the people have not denied anything as much as they have denied imamate.
And I try to remember him whenever I can, but you're saying that there's this further discussion to his remembrance.
I mean, of course. To put into perspective, let me ask you a question. How much do you think we know about all of creation? Like, how much do you think we are truly aware of the things beyond the greater skies and the atmospheres, or at the greatest depths where light can't even reach?
I was actually just watching this documentary where they talked about just the known universe is an estimated 93 billion light years in diameter. They said that science and innovation in the past 80 years or so has only proven that there is an observable and unobservable universe. But only Allah knows what's beyond that.
And that's right. And Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq alayhi salam, he explains one of the most important realities of existence, the Hujjah of Allah. And that is crucial to the existence of not just the universe, but the entirety of creation. So Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, he says, the people cannot survive except with a divinely appointed Imam, and the earth cannot survive except with him. So now, let's think about this, right? How attentive are we towards the Imam? Because of him, we have every blessing in this world, and without him, nothing could really exist.
You know what? That's so true. If you really think about it, then everything, including my family, my friends, breathing air, being able to greet someone, even the tawfiq to go to a jashan is all due to the Imam. That really indicates our lack of attention to him.
That's facts. Even being able to discuss the teachings and remembrances from the grace of Allah and His Hujjah. And you're right, if we really reflect internally, do we really think about the Imam in that sense? Like, do we have the correct recognition of the Imam, and are we paying sufficient respect and attention to him? These are some questions that really help in comprehending this hadith from Imam Musa al-Kazim. The hadith says that the reality is that the Muslims have not rejected anything as much as imamate. But if we were to look at it from today's perspective, I would say that we have not neglected anything as much as Imamate.
So you're not saying that we don't believe in Imamate, just that in our lives we keep ignoring it and essentially neglecting all of its values.
Exactly. And the existence of the Imam is a true blessing, right? And he's always looking out for us while we end up ignoring him. And sadly, the fact is that Imam Zaman, he's gharib.
What do you mean by gharib?
So think about the Imam in this way. A hadith from Imam Raza says that the Imam is a comforting friend, a very kind father, a real brother, and like a tender-hearted mother of a small child, and a refuge for people in disastrous conditions. You know, it makes me wonder if we see the Imam in these words throughout all the life events, like how much do we think about his presence? I mean, he's here, right? He breathes the same air, he's on the same earth, he walks on the same carpets, he even sees our efforts and he has expectations from us. But it hurts him to see our actions, right? How much do we even think about wanting to gain the pleasure and satisfaction of our Imam? Like how much do we think about the fact that when we commit sins and waste our time, it becomes a reason for grief of our Imam?
I guess I didn't really think about the Imam in that way. I feel that we in general don't have that same vibe that Imam Raza alayhi salam is referring to in that hadith you mentioned. Do I think of the Imam after my OChem exam is done, after a good semester, after a promotion at work? But being quarantined in this situation has made me realize we should be remembering the Imam even more. Just think about how isolated he must be. I guess I can understand what you meant by gharib now.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate really that we don't make time for the Imam to be part of our lives. Like this is why one time Imam Jawad alayhi salam was listing the names of the A'imma after him. And when he reached Imam Hassan al-Askari alayhi salam, he was filled with grief. So the narrator was asking him, why are you crying? So the Imam said, certainly after Hassan, his son Al-Qa'im, the awaited one, will be Imam. So the narrator asked, why has he been named as Al-Qa'im? Then the Imam replied, لأنه يقوم بعد موت ذكره, because he will rise after موت ذكره, after the death of his remembrance, and he will rise after the rejection of faith by most of those who believed in his imamate.
I never realized how much emphasis our other Imams have put on remembering the 12th Imam.
Yeah, I mean, it's all in this hadith. The remembrance of Sahib al-Asr wa Zaman, it carries a lot of importance. And while there might be some people who recognize the Imam, we still don't remember and recognize him as we really should.
But I'm sure there's so many people who wait and ask for the Imam's help in tough times like this, and in their daily lives, people who remember the Imam like the hadith mentions.
Yes, of course, no doubt. But the key is to be sincere in our intentions, right? We should develop a sincere connection with him. We should intend to work on something purely for our Mawla, for our Master, keeping in mind that he's looking out for us, right? You know, not for the praise of others. We need to ask ourselves, do we consider him the most important of all? Or do we keep the son of Zahra, salamullah alayha, as our last priority?
Yeah, and you know, I feel that I've improved at least a little bit from last year. And that should be our goal. But what can I do to improve even further? How do we better approach the remembrance of our Imam?
That's a great question. And I think we can focus on 3 ways through which we can be of service to the Imam and strengthen this connection to his wilayat and Imamat, right? So number 1 is by helping him by our hearts. By having his true recognition, by having his love in our hearts and making sure that we don't hurt anyone. And number 2 is by helping him by the tongue, which is by bringing his remembrance in our discussions and by teaching the religion and spreading the recognition of the Imam. And number 3 is by helping him by actions, meaning that a person becomes a true servant of Allah through his actions, using the blessings of Allah in his service and guiding others along the way. But ultimately, we have to remember that we should pray to Allah that He bestows love and true recognition of the Imam in our hearts. We see that in Dua Dar Ghaiba, we pray to Allah saying, "O Allah, don't make us forget His remembrance, His awaiting, the belief upon Him, the certainty about His reappearance, and praying for Him and sending salutations upon Him, so that the long period of Ghaiba does not make us despair about His rising."
Wow, even remembering the Imam is a gift from the Imam. That's mind-blowing. So during this quarantine, I could only think about how I can't shoot hoops or hang out with my friends. But having an Imam on the earth while no one remembers him, that's what really makes him believe. So let's make this year better. Like you said, we need to sustain the love for the Imam through the heart, words, and actions. You know, we need to fortify the heart through constant prayer for his reappearance. Our lips should be dry from the supplication of Dua Nutba. And I don't know, we need to try to remember every day or treat every day like it's the time for Zuhur. We gotta freshen up every conversation with the boys by mentioning his name. We can be reminding fellow brothers that he's here every day, rising and grinding with us in all our actions, even if we're quarantined at home.
Alhamdulillah, man. He really is with us every day, even in these tough times, right? Let's not forget. Sometimes we forget the Imam, but the Imam never forgets us.